That's right. Less than 100 days until the beginning of the USL League One season 2026. And excited to premiere Countdown to Kickoff for the New York Cosmos. We're going to be detailing the process from going from nothing to something, the rebirth of the legendary New York Cosmos. And to do so, we have the CEO of the New York Cosmos, Eric Stover. Welcome on in, the debut of Countdown to Kickoff. Welcome, sir.
Hi, guys. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
We are doing well, Mr. Stover. Thank you for doing this. We're still working out some of the kinks here. So we're going to get all of the imaging right for Countdown to Kickoff, which is, again, New York Cosmos inaugurating this new feature. We conceived of this as a way to follow the story of new clubs as they approach kickoff. We did tease it as less than 100 days. I took a shot in the dark, Eric, that you're below the 100-day mark before you kick a soccer ball as an actual operating professional soccer club there in Paterson, New Jersey. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have our schedule yet, so it's a good guess. Yeah, it's probably about right.
So with that in mind, and as we inaugurate this, why don't we start with some big news that's out there now, which is that the New York Cosmos have made a signing. Sebastian Guenzali rejoining the New York Cosmos, in a way, Eric. I don't know how we do this with records and history and stuff, but if there's a continuation of the Cosmos and the history, then Sebastian is kind of sort of returning home.
Yes, he is, and I'm really excited about that one. I've known Seba a long time, but before we get into that, I do owe an apology to Sean Mann at Detroit City and the fans in Detroit City. We announced this on Friday. We got a little ahead of ourselves, and we thought we had checked all the boxes on when we were allowed to announce it. Apparently, Detroit City hadn't cleared their roster yet, so my apologies to them. No disrespect meant. That was my mistake. But anyway, yeah, Seba's back. Cosmos Academy player under Gio Savarese. One of our first signings when we brought the club back in 2013, and scored some amazing goals for us and won 3 championships. Good guy all around, and we expect him to be a leader on this version of the Cosmos.
Yes, speaking of this version of the Cosmos, we kind of want to play a little bit of a catch-up here as we, dig in, because we're kind of, essentially finding out and making the sausage of a soccer team getting from off the ground and onto the field. So kind of catch us up here on what's been, what sparked the rebirth and what has happened up until now when we're in late November.
Yeah, so it's been a long journey. The restoration of the stadium where I'm sitting now, Hinchliffe Stadium in Paterson, started 5 years ago or so. And when that project started, the idea for professional soccer here was born. This community, passionate soccer community, we knew that soccer was the future, even though it's more famous for Negro League baseball. So we've been at it for many years, and we started working with USL a year and a half ago. And our vision was to build a community-based club, one that supported kids in this region, help players with real potential to have an opportunity to sign a professional contract, 17, 18 years old, where in a lot of ways they're often forced to go to college because there is no other opportunity for them. And I think we all know that college soccer is not the best soccer for developing players. So we view this as a community club and a club giving opportunities for kids in North Jersey. And it became the Cosmos really by presenting our vision, being a community-based club, ultimately having a professional women's team, the stadium and its restoration. All of that resonated with Rocco Camiso and the people at MediaCom. They saw what we were doing, and it lined up very much with Rocco's vision when he bought the Cosmos in 2017. So it all came together nicely. And of course, for us, that gives us a much bigger platform to promote and do the good we're trying to do.
Eric, you got a coach, you've got a player, you've got Giuseppe there doing Giuseppe's thing, and I'm anxious to hear more about that. Maybe one day, as part of Countdown to Kickoff, we'll get a chance to talk to him directly about what he's doing in his hometown, his home area to help kids, help players, develop players, and those kind of things. What's right now the thing that you would like to get checked before the end of the year? The thing you would like to get done? Is there anything that kind of sits on your desk that you go, I would love to get this done before 2026 begins?
That's a really good question. And a lot of things come to mind. It's
Give
a
me all
long
of them.
list. It's a long list. For me, from a business point of view, we want to lock in the front of our jersey sponsor. We have 3 or 4 that we're negotiating with. And just from a practical point of view, it helps us do a lot of things. Not only is it commercially critical, but we're going to be introducing our new jersey, our primary jersey design in the middle of December. And I'd really like to put our sponsor on the front of that before we start selling them. So,
well, let me ask you a point on that. Let me stop you on that, because I think that's very interesting. You wouldn't not do your jersey release without a sponsor, or you wouldn't let that be a reason not to do the release. You would say, let's do the release and figure out the sponsor later. So, I mean, give me some thinking around that, because I think, obviously, as a new club, that is something you have to get done. But a lot of teams would say, well, we don't want to present an incomplete design, because ultimately the sponsor, even though if it's sort of extraneous to the team's identity, people connect with those sponsors as part of the look.
Sure. That's why it's so valuable, right? The soccer fans are the most loyal sports fans in the United States. All the metrics point to particularly Hispanic and Latino soccer fans. They are super supportive of their lead sponsor. Ideally you want it done, but no, we can't hold it up. And you see Premier League teams that go into the season and they don't have a sponsor in the front of the jersey.
Okay.
It happens. But it does create challenges. So if we announce it and present it without the sponsor, then we have to go back and for all of our inventory, get the sponsor on there, because that's part of what they paid for. So those are the logistical challenges that you deal with when starting a club, or even if the club is in operation and there's a massive change like that from one sponsor to another. There's a lot of finer details that you have to go through.
And you mentioned him earlier. For those who haven't been following the details of the story, is Rocco Commisso part of this current part of the Cosmos, this current era?
No. Well, technically, yes. He owns a minority stake still, but Rocco's not involved in the day-to-day. And we do maintain contact with them, with all of our investors, on what we're doing. So they all were notified about Sebastian signing before it went out on a press release. So we do keep everybody informed. And of course, there's board meetings and things that we have to manage. But Rocco's not really involved in the day-to-day.
I want to come back to the jersey, because you didn't mention who your provider is, or your supplier. Your supplier is Capelli, right? And you guys announced that back in July. So when you talk about the process of releasing your first ever jersey, sponsor or not, what is it like? What is that process to work with Capelli? How I mean, as much as you can in a limited time frame, tell us the design process, those kind of things, and how late do you lock it in before you actually start going, okay, now we got to print them, or now we got to get ready for the launch?
Yeah, it's an interesting process. So we worked with Capelli designers. We work with people that we like and respect in the soccer industry here, that sort of get what we want to be, understand us as a club, and really creative folks. So we cast while it was kind of internal, we cast a wide net, looking at a whole bunch of designs, dozens and dozens of them. And we came in on one that we like a lot. It's reminiscent of the past, but it's modern. There are nice details to it that make it a really high quality jersey. Capelli did a fantastic job with the designs, but that process can be slow. And when there's a lot of people involved, there's a lot of opinions. This sample, that sample, this change, what type of crest, is it silicone? Is it stitched? You get all these samples in, and what do you like? And then, of course, no one ever completely agrees, but you eventually get there. And but you're also up against a deadline. It has to be manufactured, and if you take too much time, then you miss the start of the season. So for us, we wanted to announce and present the jersey before Thanksgiving and Black Friday. It's just smart business, but we couldn't get it delivered in time because the design process took us a little bit. So that's kind of how it gets done, and you think you have enough time, and then next thing you know, you've run out of time.
Yeah, time is a funny thing like that, but the core colors that folks know and are used to will be intrinsic in the new edition of the brand.
Yeah, definitely. But we're also bringing back some historical references. One thing we wanted to do, and you guys probably know Brian Strauss very well. He's a good personal friend of mine, writer for Sports Illustrated for many years in other outlets. We've talked about this for many, many years about how there's not enough identity in soccer in America. I think where you can see it is in the USL. The USL has done a really good job at the club level of kind of defining their identity market by market, club by club. And the Cosmos from their launch were a pioneer in that. And what we wanted to do was make sure that when you turn on the TV and you're watching a Cosmos game, you know immediately it's a Cosmos game. So our primary, when we announce it, you'll see it looks very similar, a good callback to the history, and it's a Cosmos jersey. But we have a secondary and a tertiary jersey that again, is reminiscent of things in the past, but bringing in some new concepts that we're going to use moving forward. So whenever we play a game, whether it's 2026, 27, 28, into the future, and it's that secondary jersey, you're still going to know it's the Cosmos. So I'll give you an example. Barcelona, their primary has the red and blue stripes, right? Yes. It always has the red and blue stripes, but every year they manage to find a different way to do that. We're looking to do something similar with our second jersey that we can play off of every year, but will be different.
Eric, the fact that you're working with a name that you have history. By the way, shout out to Brian Strauss, friend of mine, love the guy. Would love to talk to him about the Cosmos here. I don't know that he would volunteer for it, but that's a different discussion. For
maybe we could bring him on. He doesn't like to do these things, but he's really good at it. He's really good at it.
I know. I am one of Brian's biggest fans. I would like him to be one of his biggest fans too. The history of the Cosmos is something you can tap into, and we are going to talk and have talked to new clubs that don't have that luxury, that history. How does that impact sort of your thinking? Obviously, having your connections with the club's previous iteration means you get to carry that line through for yourself.
Well, it was a perfect fit for us because of the cosmopolitan nature of what we're trying to do. We're a community-based club. We are hyper-focused on doing good in the community and casting a wider net to bring people in, to bring in members to the club that maybe aren't necessarily soccer fans. They might be cricket fans, but they feel like they have a place with our club and they can identify with us. So the reason I mentioned that is that was Cosmos 1970. And that led to Pelé coming in 75 and then peak Cosmos 77, 78, where you had best players from all over the world but they were also representative of the New York metropolitan area and all the different communities and neighborhoods. So that's core to who we are. So it's a natural fit for us. Building a brand, something new, is very hard. And that's what any product. You're selling a candy bar, a washing machine, or a soccer team. It's very hard to build something from scratch. And I think back to my earlier comment, the USL has done a great job across many of the clubs in building something that resonates with their community. And I think no doubt that the last 5 years they've shown all of American soccer that that's the way forward. And it's going to be a big part of USL's success for the next 10 plus years.
That's exciting and an interesting note about kind of the timeline there. So you've got the kit just about there and your first signing, and you said that the signing kind of harkens back to a previous iteration. So I guess the signing kind of connects the through line. Is there any other ways that you guys are trying to be creative to create that through line between the different eras of the club?
Yeah. Branding and marketing. So we're going to roll out our advertising campaign here shortly. And it ties back into what I was just talking about, being a community-based club. So our tagline is from here. And it's kind of a term that you hear people in North Jersey talk about all the time. You know, I'm from here. Giuseppe Rossi's from Clifton. He's from here. And we can go on and on with that. And we're going to tell that story, whether it's a fan, someone from the front office, the mayor of Paterson. Mayor of Paterson grew up in Paterson. And so to my earlier point, that was also what the Cosmos were about. A lot of the first signings were from different neighborhoods. So it harkens back to the early 70s of the Cosmos, but it's very resonant to today. It really matters in what's happening here politically and what's happening with soccer in America.
Eric, it sounds great. I mean, obviously, great to chat with you again on the show, but to get a little bit more insight, some more nitty gritty kind of stuff. And I'm looking forward to doing this and following along. And for anybody who's watching this, they should know we don't plan just to talk to Eric all the time, although that would be fun. I think that would be good. We would like to get, insight from the people who are directly involved in the From Here campaign, the people who are directly involved in marketing the shirt, or hell, your groundskeeper, the guys that are responsible for making your stadium work for you guys. So I don't know if you can give us any teasers of what might be coming down the line, but obviously I'm excited to get going here.
Absolutely. So Giuseppe we'll have on for sure. Davide, head coach, and Davide is important to us because we're building a culture. And not only is he the head coach and we need to win matches, but he grew up in AC Milan, was there from U10 until now in his mid 50s. Most of his life has been spent at AC Milan. And we need that type of culture if we're going to be successful long term. And to have someone like that really be a leader within the organization, but understand it and be able to relay that to our players and our fans every day is important. So we'll bring him on. Front office folks, a number of the front office are from Paterson in North Jersey. So everything we do, like this week, is an important week for us. As many have heard, urban areas are really struggling with food insecurity nowadays, and we're doing a food drive with just our staff, and bringing in a lot of canned goods and donating it here in Paterson. But we're also volunteering for Ava's Village here in Paterson on Wednesday, working the food bank. And so getting those messages out are important to us. And we know about these things, and we know where folks really need the help, because the people that work for us or work with us are from here. And it's not just Paterson, it's all the surrounding areas. It's the 4.5 million people of North Jersey that we look to support.
Well, that's great stuff indeed. Great to hear that you're getting out to the community, and there's so much more coming down the pike. Really excited to hear about the designs of the logos and the marketing and all the different things needed to get in line in the less than 100 days asterisk till kickoff as we get set for the new era of New York Cosmos. Thank you, Eric, so much for joining us here on the kickoff of kickoff or countdown to kickoff here on morning Kickaround. Yeah, is it? It is though, but thank you. Looking forward to talking to not only some of your staff, some of your helpers, and then some of the people out in the community that might be able to share their expressions and their experiences interacting with the Cosmos. So Eric Stover, thank you so much for joining us here on Morning Kickaround and kicking off the countdown to kickoff.
Thanks, guys.